Hey guys, wanted to hop on here this morning and talk a little bit more about the deferred resignation offer. I know it's on everyone's minds, and there's been some updates over the weekend. OPM updated the website with some additional guidance. I knew some of them was up this morning. My wife asked me about VERA, what the eligibility requirements were for that, and so I checked out the OPM website and saw that under the Fork in the Road tab, the frequently asked questions have been updated with some additional guidance, including some information on the continuing resolution and VERA, some big questions that we've had. So I'm going to share my screen and walk through the FAQs with you. But first of all, we've been kind of approaching this with a fair amount of skepticism, and I think the whole federal community has, right? So is this legal? How is it going to be paid for? Some big questions, right? And how it's going to apply to your financial situation as well. So really big questions that we've been asking all along. And really I've been approaching this from a financial planning standpoint, from the standpoint of putting federal employees into three categories. First one is, you're retirement eligible and it's normal. So full benefits. You can take an immediate unreduced annuity. You can take your full health benefits right away with no reductions. Okay, so if you're ready to go out, that's kind of what it looks like. The second category, you're retirement eligible, but it's early. It's considered early because you haven't met MRA plus 30, 60 and 20, or 62 and 5. So you could go out, but if you took an immediate annuity, it would be reduced. And of course, you could also postpone that into the future as well to avoid that reduction. And then the third category of employees, you're just not retirement eligible yet, so you haven't met minimum retirement age, but you could be eligible for a deferred pension if you have at least 5 years in the system. Okay, so those are kind of the three categories that we've been looking at and approaching the financial planning thoughts from, which makes a lot of sense. And now this has changed a little bit with some of the guidance, and I want to touch on that. And I'll just say before we get into it, I think the skepticism is warranted. Continue to investigate, ask your agency questions, see how this applies to you uniquely, even consult an employment attorney if you feel that's necessary. So there's some big questions here, okay? But, let's take a look at this website, because there have been some significant questions that have been answered. And it feels like whoever's in the OPM office right now, whoever's running this new efficiency program, they're reading the comments and they're just kind of trying to update the FAQs and reflect that and answer some of the bigger questions. So here we are, and you can find this under the Fork tab, and then look for the FAQs. You can find this exact document right here. So the first one on the list, am I expected to work at my government job? This has been up there. No, they're not expecting you to work, right? You're going on paid administrative leave until the end of September. And I guess we're continuing to accumulate benefits during that period of time. That's what some of the guidance here is going to tell us. Are you allowed to get a second job during the resignation period? Yes. They're encouraging you to get a job in the private sector as soon as possible. Will you really get your full pay and benefits if you get a second job? It's, again, take this guidance for what it's worth, but here it is. It says, yes, you'll continue to accrue further annual leave, sick leave, and be paid out for unused leave at your final resignation date. Okay. The one that's interesting to me is this one. So the current funding bill for the federal government expires on March 14th. This has been a big question. We've been having conversations around. You're skeptical about this. Obviously, there's no funding. Right? The government may shut down in March. How are we going to pay for this program on top of that? Basically what they're trying to address here is if the government does shut down, employees are entitled to back pay when we do start operating again at some point in the future. And under the deferred resignation program, I guess you would still be entitled to that back pay under the Government Employee Fair Treatment Act of 2019. So that answers, part of the question. Take it for what it's worth here anyway. All right, now, of course, this is the one that's really interesting to me. We're talking about VERA. Okay, so the Voluntary Early Retirement Authority. Does my agency have VERA for employees who opt to take the deferred resignation offer? It's indicating yes. All right, so employees who are eligible for the deferred resignation offer and are at least 50 with 20 years of service, or any age with 25 years of service, are eligible for VERA along with the deferred resignation offer. Okay, unless your position is exempted from deferred resignation by your agency. Okay. I don't know that this is going to apply to every federal employee. I mean, I would ask your agency these questions. It seems that would be really expensive if they're going to offer VERA to every federal employee. But I don't know. We know they're motivated to reduce the workforce. This is step one in the plan, voluntary resignations, retirements. We don't know what step two is, making life uncomfortable, reductions in force through whatever means, they're going to work on. But the VERA thing is interesting. So what this says is, those three categories of employees I was talking about, if you're in that early category, this changes that. If you qualify for VERA, now you can go out with immediate unreduced benefits, okay? So you no longer have to take that reduction in your pension. And it looks like this. So I've been working with a client, and we've been working together on a retirement plan for a few years. She's 58. She's got 23 years of service, and we've had 60 circled on the calendar for a number of years. That's kind of the magic number for her, right? So a full unreduced benefits, right? Take them right away, immediate unreduced benefits. And we're kind of running the numbers now. Everyone's kind of doing the same thing with the deferred resignation offer. At 58, her pension calculation comes out to be about $42,000. But if she takes it right away, there's a 20% reduction because, she's 4 years under the age of 62. She hasn't met MRA in 30. She's not at 60 and 20 yet. So it's about a $9,000 reduction from her max pension. Okay, so that's a big chunk. Now, of course, she could postpone that until 60 and take the full pension, which is, just 2 years away. But now, if this is the case, this makes you think about it a little bit more. You could take that full $42,000 without the $9,000 reduction. So the big question for, if you're in that circumstance is, are you ready? Does the rest of your financial situation support you being ready to retire, which now could be an extended retirement if obviously you could go back to work and do something different if that's an option for you, if you're desirable and there's positions available. But if you're just going to retire early and not do anything, it creates a much longer timeline to plan for, which creates challenges. Okay, so that's kind of how the VERA program works. If you're 50 with 20 years of service, you can be eligible for full benefits. If you're 25, if you have 25 years of service, you can be any age and qualify for those same benefits. SRS is a consideration here too. So typically, you could be eligible for SRS at MRA under VERA, so it doesn't exclude you from SRS. So if you're eligible, that could be a situation you'd have to wait and pick that up when you actually do hit your minimum retirement age. So see how that applies to your situation. Look into the details there. Okay, so that's VERA. That's kind of the case that I was interested to share with you because I think it's a lot of conversations we could have around this and kind of work through the numbers and see if it makes sense. All right, so the next one on the list is also interesting. If I'm eligible for early or normal retirement during the deferred resignation period, will I be able to accept that deferred resignation and still accept retirement during the resignation period? So I'm reading this as, hey, I'm eligible for retirement in August, right? So slightly before September. I'm not eligible for retirement right now. Will my benefits continue to accrue during this deferred resignation period? It looks like it's telling us yes, you'll continue to accrue retirement benefits during this period, and should you elect to retire before your final resignation date, your retirement election will override that deferred resignation. Okay, so that's good news if you're considering this and you're kind of in that window where it was a little, questionable. Again, I have hesitation because I don't know, this is so unusual and unprecedented, and you're just reading frequently asked questions off a website. I would want concrete guidance from my agencies, something in writing telling me this is all legit and I can go ahead and take advantage of this program. Last one I'm going to touch on here. This one's interesting too. I'm scheduled to retire soon after September 30th. Can I take advantage of the program? So basically what they're saying is, if you'd be eligible for retirement from October to December to the end of the year, you're still eligible for this deferred resignation program. They're going to go ahead and, extend, right? That's what it's saying here. Your deferred resignation date will be extended to match your retirement date. So, I'm sure there's some room that the agencies will be able to work with you if the administration is that motivated to reduce the workforce. I don't know, right? I'm learning just along with you here too. So I would encourage you to find this document and read through the rest of these things. And then again, I showed you it's on OPM, the fork, and then you can find, if you go to the fork, you can actually see the deferred resignation letter and everything accompanying it. And then the FAQs are up here on the top. So that's where I navigated to. So a lot of good information. I would encourage you to read through all this, see how it applies to you, and of course, update your numbers. So with all of this stuff, I would just encourage you right now is a perfect opportunity to just get organized financially, get your financial house in order so you can make good decisions. And whether it's not around this resignation offer, you're going to have to make these decisions in the future regarding your employment and your retirement. So perfect opportunity to do things like create your retirement income worksheet, something we talk about all the time, which is simply laying out how much you anticipate spending in retirement to live the lifestyle you want versus what income sources you're going to have. Project your FERS basic annuity, project your Social Security benefits, your investment income, any other source of income, match everything up and see exactly where you stand, see how ready you are, and look at different dates, right? So minimum retirement age 60, 62, whatever you have in mind, right? So for your planned future. So do those things. Create that retirement income worksheet. Update your balance sheet. Create an inventory of insurance coverages. Look at your estate planning, all that kind of stuff, right? And you may need to make investment decisions too if you do decide to resign and you're going to need to draw income from somewhere. If you're not going to go back to work, what does that mean for your investment portfolio and the decisions you should be making there? Okay, so a lot of questions. And then really the one that we overlook a lot, but I think is really important, is mission, vision, values. It feels a little fluffy to some of you guys, but I would encourage you to do it. You'll have more success if you do. That's simply laying out what you're trying to accomplish, what you want the future to look like. Allow yourself to think and dream a little bit on that one, because I think it's really helpful as much as you might put off doing it. So those are the sort of things that I would be doing right now alongside, the questions that this period of time and uncertainty are creating. Give yourself that opportunity to have more clarity, and then you'll have flexibility in the future, be able to make good choices a little more easily, and we'll go from there. So again, fluid situation, I'm learning alongside with you. So I would love to hear questions that you have and what you're working on. Please feel free to reach out, and we'll talk to you soon.